Diegetic. That's a word you'll need to know for this video, but don't worry, I'll be explaining what it means later on. One of the most famous things about the nearly 4-decade-old Zelda franchise would be the health bar system, or more specifically the lack of a health bar. Zelda is well known for using units of health that are instead represented by hearts that in turn represent the health of our hero, Link. And one of the coolest things about the heart system that's been there ever since the start is that it can get longer. By collecting heart bar upgrades called Pieces of Heart, we can lengthen Link's heart bar in every game in the franchise. Well, except for the Philips CDI games, but those games were so well crafted that they hold up all on their own. Unfortunately though, I have made this video to inform you that the beloved and familiar Piece of Heart upgrade system, and even the recovery hearts that Link can pick up, completely break the games. And to explain how, let's talk about that word I mentioned earlier, diegetic. You see, across gaming as a whole, the vast majority of NPCs or items or events exist within the game universe, which we can refer to with the aforementioned fancy term known as diegetic. And sure, the most obvious examples of this would be the game's cutscenes, or most if not all elements of the story. But there can definitely also be diegetic gameplay elements, like in the Halo or Metroid games, where the different HUD elements are literally being shown to both Master Chief / Samus and simultaneously to us the players on their visors. In Zelda, some examples of diegetic gameplay would be obtaining the hook shot or killing Ganon, unless of course we're talking about the Fallen timeline. Yeah, in the Zelda universe, killing Ganon is both canon and non-canon at the same time because normal timelines are boring, am I right? Anyway, on the flip side, there are many things that we the players can do or see with our characters that are not diegetic. For instance, in World of Warcraft, these little quest markers over people's heads don't actually exist. They're just there for the players who exist outside the game world to see. Another pretty big example of non-diegetic gameplay would be the vast majority of user interface elements like pause menus or save files or the camera. You know, the way you and I see the game world. Yet technically speaking, the viewpoint we have when we're running around trying to cut some grass looking for hearts in a Zelda game is non-diegetic. Link doesn't actually know that we're back here floating around behind his head, watching his every move, making fun of the way he says hi-ya. So now that we're all experts on what is and is not considered diegetic, it's time for a pop quiz. Are the famous Pieces of Heart, staples of the Zelda series since its inception, considered diegetic or non-diegetic? I'll give you 5 seconds to think. Okay, I got bored. If you're thinking that they're diegetic, here's a cookie for you because you're right. If you were thinking they're non-diegetic, you don't get a cookie because that's actually incorrect. Aww. I'm just kidding, here's a cookie anyway. So yes, what I'm saying is Pieces of Heart do exist within the universe of Zelda, and I'll prove that in just a second, but that's exactly what the problem is. Originally, when Nintendo came up with the idea of Link's life force, it was just supposed to be a fourth wall breaking player life meter game mechanic similar to most other games of the time like Dragon Buster or Punch-Out!, although that one was technically just a stamina bar, but it worked the same way. And the health unit system wasn't even unique to Zelda. The Metroid series, which also debuted in the 80s, featured a very similar health unit system called Energy, which was upgraded by collecting energy tanks, each of which had their own health meters, but I'm getting off topic now. As the years went by and Zelda became more popular though, the games began expanding both in scope and lore. All of a sudden in 1991, the world was blessed with the release of A Link to the Past, where in addition to amazing graphical quality, we had all sorts of NPCs with all sorts of canonical dialogue used to expand on all sorts of in-game universe elements like never before, and consequently this is where we first see a real diegetic, not fourth wall breaking in-game reference to Link's health system, specifically to a Piece of Heart. In the Dark World, right outside Death Mountain, there's a sign near a cave that reads, "I'll give a piece of heart to the person who wears the cape," which of course comes true if you enter the cave, wear the aforementioned cape, and exit out the other side of a large bumper. Now for some of you, because this is read off of a sign and not spoken by an NPC, you'll write that off as possibly non-canon. So how about this? In Oracle of Seasons, when Link travels to a place called Subrosia Market, one of the items that the market is selling is in fact a piece of heart. Although since they don't actually know what it is, instead of calling it a piece of heart, they have it flipped upside down and have dubbed it the rare peach stone, since as you know, peaches look almost exactly like an upside down heart. Don't know what else you were thinking. This moment stands out among all the other pieces of heart for sale across the other Zelda games because while those could be excused as being non-canon stand-ins for other diegetic items that we just don't see while playing the game, this particular piece of Subrosia Market has been renamed by the market staff, which is clearly not something that could happen unless they knew about it, and also knew how it looked. But okay, I know there are still some of you who would excuse that as well as being non-canon because there is no direct NPC interaction. So how about this final example? In the Minish Cap, near the start of the game, Princess Zelda grabs Link and takes him to the Picori Festival. While they're there, the princess eventually approaches a saleswoman who straight up vocally acknowledges the piece of heart she's selling and calls it a cute heart-shaped stone multiple times, both fulfilling the NPC's knowledge of the heart piece and proving that they can verbally acknowledge their existence. There are other examples I could delve further into, like the fortune tellers from Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword seemingly knowing what they are, or the myriad of situations where other NPCs give Link pieces of heart as rewards, but I digress. What this shows us is that every time Link picks up a piece of heart, it's not just some arbitrary game mechanic. It's real, tangible, acknowledged by the people actually living in the world, which means that Link's ever-expanding health bar and even his ability to heal himself by scooping up random floating hearts are also both diegetic. And that's kind of a problem for several reasons. Why, you ask? Great question. Let's break it down. Okay, so if the pieces of heart, and by extension the heart containers, are real within the Zelda universe, that means Link's health pool is real too. Like as in it actually exists in the world of Hyrule. Which raises a pretty big question: what is the limit here? What's stopping Link from just collecting enough of these things to literally become immortal? And if there is some kind of cap, which we do see in the games, who is deciding what the cap is? The Golden Goddesses? Hylia? Some cosmic HR department that manages legendary hero benefits? And if they're the ones setting the cap, why are they doing that exactly? Isn't the chosen hero having so much power that evil doesn't stand a chance a good thing? Furthermore, does this mean they're also the ones creating these heart pieces in the first place that are scattered all over the kingdom? And if that's true, why are they hiding them inside beehives and under rocks and as minigame rewards instead of, oh, I don't know, just giving them to the hero directly? And here's a bigger question: are these things exclusive to Link, or could just anyone grab one like you or me? We do see Zelda in Echoes of Wisdom get her hands on quite a few, so if they're not hero exclusive, then doesn't that mean that every Hylian farmer out there could be speedrunning immortality? And you know what, now that I'm talking about it, maybe that has something to do with why the Sheikahs seem to live forever. Just a thought. But let's go even deeper, because if heart pieces are diegetic, which we just established they are, that means that everything that interacts with them has to be diegetic too. Which brings us to the little recovery hearts. You know, the ones that you find literally everywhere except for in the newest 2 wild games. Pots, grass, freshly murdered monsters, take your pick. And if they're real, then what exactly are they? Because this implies that since recovery hearts drop from dead monsters, for instance, every single recovery heart then represents a leftover chunk of something's life force. Meaning that every time Link picks one up, he's literally absorbing the life energy of something that just died. Like a vampire. Of life energy. But buckle up, because it's about to get much worse. Across the Zelda series, we see firsthand over and over that these recovery hearts can also be obtained from food. All the way back in Ocarina of Time, drinking Lon Lon milk recovers hearts. In Twilight Princess, milk or pumpkin fish cheese soup can refill hearts. Food recovering hearts continues to this day in games like Echoes of Wisdom, where Zelda can drink smoothies that also recover hearts, or in Breath of the Wild, where cooking food is pretty much the only way to recover hearts. So when you connect the dots, it kind of implies that food in The Legend of Zelda is therefore interchangeable for life energy, which is extracted from dead animals and plants. And technically that's not too far off from real life. I mean, everything we eat on planet Earth to maintain our life energy used to be alive at some point. Sorry if you didn't know that before I told you just now. You're welcome. So Link eating food to recover hearts is fine and dandy, but what it also means is that Link has most likely been eating the monsters he kills for their life energy for the entirety of the franchise. You know, maybe that's why monsters stopped dropping hearts in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But I digress. Ultimately, are pieces of heart and heart containers and recovery hearts both diegetic and non-diegetic in a fourth wall breaking way that isn't supposed to be taken too seriously so that we can all just enjoy a really fun video game franchise? Of course. But if you're like me, stuff like this really makes you think. So let me ask you, what would you come up with for resolving this piece of heart system in the Zelda games so that they're perfectly diegetic without breaking the fourth wall? Is it even possible? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. Huge thanks as always to my Bandit crew who have been sticking around the whole time I've been gone from the channel. You guys are the reason I do what I do and the reason I came back, so thank you so much. It's good to be back. We've got a lot of videos coming down the pipeline, and there are some brand new membership perks also coming soon. So be sure to check out the membership tiers if you're interested, and subscribe if you haven't already. That's all I've got for this one, but what about the next one? Let me know if there's any sort of oddity or theory hole you'd like me to delve into in the comments, Zelda universe or not. Follow me on my socials, and I'll see you next time. This is Bandit, signing out. Peace!